Hi and welcome. This is Homebody Rundown and I'm HR. In this video, I am showing some of the primarily pantry food storage containers that I use. Some I really like and some I really don't. Today we opened a gallon of Michigan maple syrup. We do not go through this super quick and it is possible that it could mold, so I like to split it up into jars and put them in the freezer. The jars and the lids are freezer safe, but of course they are glass, so they need to be somewhere they won't get bumped. And putting it into the jars is convenient because when it defrosts, I have these pour spout lids that just fit right on the jar for the one that we're keeping in the refrigerator and using. Refilling the baking soda, I like that these lids fit on small mouth canning jars and they have a shaker side and an open side. I don't need the shaker side for baking, but I will sprinkle some baking soda in my sink when I'm scrubbing it, so that's convenient. They're just something I found on Amazon. The only downside is that they are a little stiff or a little harder to open. We eat a lot of frozen blueberries in this house, and I've been trying to find a good freezer-safe storage container with a pour lid, and I'm really happy with this one. We've had it for almost a year now. It's Lock & Lock brand, 18 cup size. If it's still on Amazon, I will link it in the description. I'm primarily filling it with these 3-pound bags of blueberries from Costco, and they fit in no problem. The lid attaches on all 4 sides, and I did realize later I put the lid on backwards. It also has these indented spots on the sides, which make it easier to grab a hold of, especially from the freezer where sometimes it's slippery. I do wish the inside seal had a little bump out so it would be easier to remove the seal when you're cleaning it. But it pours nicely. This is just so much easier than opening and closing a plastic bag every time. Storing some extra pasta today down in the basement. I really like these totes. Unfortunately, I do not know where to buy them anymore. They used to carry them at Walmart. They have like this styrofoam seal around the edges and the handles lock. I also like the smaller size because pasta can get pretty heavy, so I would not want to store it in anything larger. I have 2 bags of sushi rice, so using this extra large 1-gallon glass jar. I ordered these from Azure Standard and I will link them in the description. This was 4 pounds of rice and it probably would have fit into a half-gallon jar. We eat whole wheat pasta, this is a penne, usually once a week, so I like to keep it in a gallon jar in the kitchen. The older pasta that was in the jar I put into the bowl. I'm going to make that tonight, so it'll be all new pasta going into the jar. I was able to fit 3 1-pound bags of this shape in the jar. Obviously, if you had something like elbow noodles, it would fit in a lot more, but that does make it heavier if you're concerned about that sort of thing. Speaking of elbow pasta, I am refilling this container and doing the same thing, pouring out the old stuff so it's all new going in. I'd originally bought this for flour, but I didn't like it. Overall, I do not like this container, but I have it, so I use it. The lid does seal on there really well, but I think it's deceptive that the handle is not for carrying. It's what locks the lid in place. So when you pop it up, it just pulls the lid off. Also, the sides are very smooth. There are no indents, so when you go to pick it up, it's harder to hold on to. I always try to put a hand underneath it so I don't drop it. Popcorn I like to store in half-gallon jars. This is a taller canning style jar I got at Walmart. Side note, I really love these kitchen shears that pop apart for easier cleaning. It's the only style I will buy now. I have some joint issues, so I much prefer to have a lid to take on and off rather than unsealing and resealing a plastic bag. Also, if you're concerned about bugs, your food would be safer in glass as well. I'm not coordinated, so I do like to use a funnel when I fill jars. I love that this entire 4.5-pound bag of Costco chocolate chips fits in this old Rubbermaid container. By old, I think it's around 20 years old. I also really like these little drawer organizers I found at Walmart. They're a softer or bendy kind of plastic, and they are the perfect size for tea bags. Just a heads up though, I have cabinets from the 70s in my kitchen, and some of the more shallow drawers, these containers are too tall for them. But it fits nicely on these shelves we have put into our cabinet. These are one of my favorite storage containers. They are half-gallon glass jars I order from Azure Standard. The lids are a separate purchase. I like to use these for cookies and crackers. I like that they are taller and clear so people see what there is to snack on and it gets eaten. The style of glass jar with the attached lid works really well for us for hot cocoa. This is something I found at TJ Maxx. I think they usually have a couple different brands. I've also been very happy using this style of jar with brown sugar. It seals nicely and stays soft. Putting this bag of nutritional yeast into glass jars, I'll keep a smaller jar that's easier to hold in the kitchen and store the rest in a quart jar in the pantry. Once again, using a funnel to fill the jars. This footage is from January, but wanted to show the prices at the local Walmart for 3 types of lids I use. I like the gray leak-proof lids for the freezer. I haven't had any of those break like the white ones can, and the wooden ones look nice for stuff that sits out on the counter. But hands down, the cheapest and easiest to use for me are these Mainstays white plastic lids. They're just so much easier to put on and off, and I would recommend them. Another container I had originally tried for flour, now I use it for powdered sugar. It's another container that does not have anywhere to grip the sides, which is a negative in my book, but it does have a good sealing lid, and it seems to work well for powdered sugar. I can easily fit 2 24-ounce bags in it. Storing some pitted prunes in another canning jar. This is a wide mouth jar and a newer to me style of Ball brand lid. It is a metal lid with a removable gasket, and so far I like these lids. Something I just recently noticed and thought I would share is that these lids for the gallon and half-gallon glass jars from Azure Standard, I ordered the lids at different times and they don't match. The color is the same, but the pattern on the top is different. So if that is something that will bug you, I'm not sure what the best strategy would be. Maybe order a lot of lids all at once. Also, they're kind of scratched up. I hand wash these usually, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. These are 2 Cambro containers, around 6-quart size. They're plastic and made in the USA. The one on the left, the round ones, I get at Sam's Club. They are very affordable. I wanted to try some square ones, so I ordered those off Amazon. The lids are different styles. The round one is much easier to snap on and off. The square one takes more effort, but that seems to make it more secure, especially if using it for liquids, and it would probably make them better to stack. These are 1-pound bags of wide egg noodles. I was able to fit 3 bags in this container. I do try to make sure that I don't line up the tab on the lid with the handles on the sides. It's just easier to get the lid off if you don't. These are 1-pound bags of shell pasta. You can see here I have to use 2 hands to open this lid. I was able to fit 4 bags of the shell pasta in here, but it is very full. I do not plan to buy any more square ones because I much prefer the lid style on the round ones. Plus they are cheaper and they have handles. So if I was starting from scratch buying containers, the ones I would definitely buy are canning jars, half-gallon glass jars, the Lock and Lock pour container for the blueberries, and the Cambro round restaurant type containers. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you so much for watching.